Hi guys, 31 weeks pregnant and the baby is getting huge and I can feel it. So I know I've been saying this every week, but just more and more, her movements are just so distinct, and that's really been my main symptom this week, is just feeling the baby move so much. And along with that, my belly is getting huge. I feel like it's growing almost daily, which it's probably not, but I do feel like it's just blowing up. You know, like the third trimester truly is the trimester of growth, like where your belly just expands. And I'm definitely feeling that. My main symptom this week has really just been related to the fact that my belly is getting so big. So really, the only thing that I have to complain about, and it's not even really that bad, is getting comfortable at night. And maybe for those of you who are also pregnant, you can relate to this feeling. You know, you like finally find a position that's comfortable, sort of, you know, you're supposed to lie down on your side, so you finally get comfortable, and then you've been on your left side for so many hours, you want to move over to your right, and you have to really want to do it because it's such an ordeal to get your belly like over. And I would say it's almost even a little bit painful, like rolling over. You have to do it with grace, because it's not the most pleasant thing to roll over with this gigantic belly. But yeah, so those are really my only symptoms this week, and I don't have anything new as far as symptoms go. But the one thing I did want to mention that's new this week, besides the fact that I had my birthday, my 28th birthday, so that was fun. But back to pregnancy-related things, my husband and I went to our first birth class this week, and that was a really cool experience. So I know there's a lot of options out there as far as birth classes are concerned. I decided to sign us up for free classes that the birth center where I'm giving birth at offers. It's not a freestanding birth center. It's a hospital. It's the hospital here in town, so it's definitely you know, a hospital birth. But the hospital has its own separate birthing center, and that birth center has a whole bunch of stuff all related to, you know, childcare and prenatal stuff, blah, blah, blah. So they had all these cool looking classes, and I signed up for a 5-week series of classes. The first one that we went to was all about birth and labor, and I gotta say, like, it was really positive overall, the experience. As far as learning things new, I would say it was really helpful for my husband, because I'm somebody who spends like a ton of time reading and doing everything I can to find out about pregnancy and labor and birth. But for him, he doesn't spend as much time reading about labor and delivery. Why would he? So it was really good for him to go to that class. One of the things they did was they talked us through the different stages of labor, how to recognize when you're in each stage, what happens to your body, to your uterus, to the baby during each stage. And they even had this video with really interesting graphics that show precisely what happens to your cervix when you're in labor, how it dilates and effaces, like gets thinner, and then how the baby is pushed down. It was really interesting. And my biggest positive from this birth class, and one of the reasons why I wanted to sign up for birth classes at my birthing center, was because I wanted to get a feel for the philosophy of, like their philosophy on labor and delivery, because each hospital is a little bit different. Some are more traditional, and you know, there's not much flexibility. It's just, you know, you do what the doctor says, they put you in a bed, they strap you up to monitors, and you're stuck there for your labor, no choice. And then other hospitals veered toward a more natural approach, where it's more mother-centered, and you know, you can be up on your feet, laboring in different positions, get into you know, a tub to labor or the shower, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I wanted to get a feel for the philosophy of the birthing center where I'm going to give birth, and I was so pleased, because this one is definitely more on the natural side of things. I mean, it's still totally, you know, medical, hospital. I'm going about this, you know, in the safest way possible, but they were talking about things like the importance of skin to skin immediately after birth, and how at this birthing center they go for at least an hour or 2 hours of direct skin to skin before they even take the baby away from you to like weigh and swaddle and all that stuff. And that's really cool. That means that they're definitely more on the natural side of things. So I found out a lot about what to expect for my birth, and that was really helpful. And overall, I would definitely recommend, especially if your hospital offers free classes, definitely do it, because worst case scenario, you don't get anything out of it. But that's probably not going to be the case. You know, you're definitely going to get some benefit from these classes. So it was really positive. My husband really enjoyed it. He was grateful to have the information. He learned a lot. And it even made him start to feel a little bit excited about delivery, you know, about like when we meet our baby. I think for men, it hits them differently than it does for women, that you're going to have a baby. And because the woman is the one carrying the baby, it kind of always feels real. But for the man, it doesn't feel as real until you meet the baby. And so he made a comment after this class about like, oh wow, it was even a little emotional for me, because I realized just how intense that moment's going to be when we meet our baby. And anyway, it was really sweet and a really good experience overall. So that's the good news for this week. Now for the bad news, and onto the diabetes part of my week. So this past week has been really different for me and kind of hectic. So my parents were visiting, that's one thing, and that was a lot of fun. But we also, while they were here, traveled a couple hours out of where I live to go to a family reunion, sort of a big event that was held at a hotel. And for any diabetics out there, you know how traveling upsets your blood sugars. Like, I don't know if it's the stress or eating different foods or you're just in a different routine. It makes your blood sugars harder to control when you travel. And yeah, one of the things I've been trying to do while I'm pregnant is to keep my daily routine as normal as possible, like as boring as possible, because the more boring your routine is and the more similar it is day to day, the better you can control your blood sugars. So, traveling sort of threw me off, and I had this thing happen when we were at the hotel, and it was pretty upsetting. I'll tell you the whole story. So on Saturday, you know, we were spending time visiting with my cousins, just having a lot of fun, and as it got into the evening and people were going to bed, my husband and I were having a really good time hanging out with people, and so we decided to stay up and just talk and visit, and it was lots of fun, and I'm glad that we did that. But we ended up staying up past midnight, which it's not too late, I know, but for me it's late because since I've been pregnant, I've been going to sleep at like 9:30 or 10. So I was really tired when we went to sleep, and that's a key point to this story, because what happened was we went to bed, I was exhausted, and one of the things that I do, I don't know if everybody knows this, for my diabetes routine, and this is something my doctor has told me to do, and it's one of the ways that I keep my blood sugars steady 24/7, because I'm not on an insulin pump, is that I wake up every night or morning at 3 a.m. to check my blood sugar and to give myself a shot of long-acting insulin. It's helpful for me to wake up at that time, because if my blood sugar is running high in the middle of the night, I can correct. So during pregnancy, it's been really key to keeping my blood sugars down, because I can correct. You know, you don't have that long stretch where you're sleeping where I might be high. So anyway, I was so tired when I went to bed that my 3 a.m. alarm went off as usual, and I know that I turned it off because the next morning I could see that I had turned it off, so I had definitely woken up to turn off my alarm, but I forgot to take my shot. Like, I clearly wasn't alert when I woke up. I didn't check my blood sugar and I didn't take my shot. So I woke up at about 6 in the morning just naturally, feeling kind of bad, and I was like, oh crap, I had this sort of like dread feeling, like, did I take my shot at 3 a.m.? I don't remember doing it. I look over on the nightstand and there it was, my syringe full of insulin, and I was like, oh shit, like I forgot to check my blood sugar and take my shot. I hope the damage isn't too bad. So I check my blood sugar at 6 in the morning. Remember, I've only had about 5 hours of sleep at this time, and I am not thinking rationally. So I check my blood sugar, and it's taking longer and longer to show the number, which you know that if it takes a long time for the number to pop up, it means it's high. And lo and behold, it pops up and it's 233. And I had a moment of I freaked out. And And it's not because, again, you could take into consideration I had just woken up from very little sleep and I was not thinking rationally, so go easy on me when you judge my reaction. But I lost it. I freaked out. I started crying. I couldn't believe that I had done that. You know, like the feeling that I felt was, how could I have let this happen? Oh my gosh, I just felt so bad that I had done something that could have hurt my baby. And, you know, now thinking rationally about it, it's fine. I corrected really quickly. My number came back down, and I am pretty positive that that one event is not going to affect the whole outcome of the pregnancy. But in that moment, I just felt like such a failure. And, you know, and it sucks because you should focus on how hard you try, and you should focus on all of your successes. And I have done a really good job during this pregnancy, and I have worked so hard to keep my blood sugars normal, and for the most part I've gotten good results. And so it's a shame when you can't focus on that and you only focus on the failures. But in that moment, and I know that now, but in that moment I just felt like such a failure. And I cried, I was like kind of hyperventilating, I was shaking. My husband was doing the best he could to comfort me. There was really nothing anybody could do at that point in time. I was like pacing back and forth. I may have woken up the whole floor that we were on in the hotel from my wailing because I was crying so hard. Anyway, it was a whole ordeal, and now that it's over, look, I'm laughing, I can laugh at it, but man, it sucked. But the one thing that I do want to say, because this is a pregnancy vlog, so the one thing related to this whole pregnancy experience for me is that I realized that what I was feeling in that moment, my reaction, was something I had never felt before. It was a different type of emotion. And what it was, like the reason I was crying so much and the reason I just felt like I felt so bad and so guilty that I had done that was because I was feeling this unconditional love for my child. Like in my head, I thought my baby's hurting because of my high blood sugar. And that feeling was so painful to me because all I want is for her to be okay. I just want her to be healthy. I want her to be happy. I want the best for my baby. And in that moment, it was kind of the first time that I had really felt that, like that feeling of being a mother and just loving something so unconditionally to the point that it almost hurts that you love it so much and you want that child to be happy and healthy and all those things. I was crying, I was weeping like that because I was weeping for my child. Like just, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like my first introduction into what it's going to feel like to be a mom and to have this child. And I know that as life goes on, I will have lots of times where I'm crying like that and I feel helpless and I can't help my child. And there will be lots of times where I even maybe some action that I do causes indirect harm to my child, and I'm going to have to learn how to deal with that. So this was just that first sort of introduction to that side of motherhood, and it was kind of poignant for me because I really did feel like I've become a mother and I have this baby and I love it so much and I just want her to be okay. So anyway, that was that experience, and you know, I got my blood sugar back down. Like within an hour it had gone to like 140, and so I was happy once it was back in the hundreds, and then it kept going down and it normalized eventually, so everything was fine. But I especially wanted to share that story for my other type 1 viewers, or just diabetic viewers in general, because I'm always talking about the good news and like how good my blood sugars are, and that's not, I mean, I still am a diabetic and I still have unpredictable numbers. I'm human, I mess up, and I wanted to share with you that that happened so that you can know that I'm not perfect, and you know, I have had high blood sugars during this pregnancy, and yeah, it'll be good to see that even with numbers that are much, much higher than you want them to be when you're pregnant, things can still be okay, and it's the response that matters. And yeah, so I wanted to share that story because hopefully it's something a little bit more relatable to the rest of my diabetic viewers out there. So, alright, so that is my 31-week update, and I'm just going to go ahead and end with a quick belly shot. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have had a great week. If you have any comments or questions, as always, leave those down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for my 32-week update. I cannot believe that I'm even saying that. But yeah, I'll see you at my 32-week update. Bye!